All right. So one of the best features of BUMS.AI and high level is leveraging the phone system, being able to text message people. I can't tell you how many people we've been able to convert into a text conversation that AI could take over and actually help you get more sales, more leads, speed to lead. It's just amazing the things you could do with it. Also being able to have your phone calls that go to your salespeople be recorded, transcribed, the text messaging, owning that number that has correspondence with your customer. I think it's huge for roofing companies. And I'm going to show you how to get started. So we left off with setting up our system. Now I want to set up our phone. So what we're going to do is we're going to go right to settings. And what we're going to do is we're going to move to phones. So you're going to see phone numbers right here. And you're going to simply add a number. Now, impulse is I'm going to add everyone's number. I'm going to add a number for sales, for customer service, for my sales manager, et cetera, et cetera. Do not do that at first. You want to get an approval for the number. There's a regulation that has to get your number approved. And we talked about that during our first step. If you haven't seen that, go back to that video, set up your company properly. But what we're going to do is get one number and get an approval, because it becomes so much easier at that point to add numbers that you don't have to worry. So don't try to do multiple numbers. It's just going to confuse you and make your life a little bit harder. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a number. And you see you got three options here. So you can do add a phone number, add number pool. This is like for your call rail type numbers where you're monitoring for like lead tracking, and add verified number. This means I want the caller ID that goes outbound to show a particular caller ID. You can do that. Now remember though, if they text message back that caller ID, then if you call, it's going to not go unless you have that one set up. So I don't recommend that necessarily, but there are use cases for that. So we're going to go with add number, and I go here. It's pretty simple. I could pick different countries. As you can see, you could do a filter. Some zip codes and area codes are getting more and more full, but you just look for your area code, whatever it might be, and you search for it. If you're definitely wanting a particular area code, let us know. We can try to look behind the scenes and see what we can find. So you go through and you find your phone number. So I'm going to just, because it's a sample, I'm just going to pick a number, but use common sense for what you want to do. I know some people want to use the 00s and things like that. They look a little commercial. So it's nice to find 6846, 4790. Don't find 4700. My opinion. Again, it's your choice. Feel free to what you pick, but I'm going to buy. And you can see it says $1.15 in this particular case. I buy that number and it's immediately brought in and it says, hey, you got to register at A2P. This is what we're talking about, right? So we're going to register. So let's go ahead and go through this. Now I have some fake information in here, so I probably will not be able to go through the entire process, but I'm pretty sure I can get you guys far enough along where you know what's going on. So as you're here, by the way, if you were in manage numbers and you see this, you'll see the start now button here, or you can go here to the trust center. Both of them will bring you right here. What we're going to do is we're going to start registering. So what am I going to do? Are you US business? Pretty simple. Or Canada? For most of you, yes. What's your legal name? Are you legal? Now, remember, all this stuff is coming over from that original setup video. So if I did, the part becomes much easier. If not, get your W-9, look what it says, copy it exactly, and make sure all this information is there. I'm going to hit continue. And here it's asked me for my information. I'm going to hit continue. Because I've already filled this stuff out, it's already there. If I hadn't, it's going to ask me for all this. That's why that first step is so important to make this process easy. Everybody should start with low volume standard, right? And in our business, really, you don't need anything more than that. There might be a reason, but you're going to do that. Now you're going to acknowledge that this is okay. And you're going to hit continue, right? And this is going to go ahead and bill you that $23 or whatever it is here. It looks like one-time fee of $23. So I put that in there and I'm going to go in here and you see it has all these different options, your campaign use cases. So we at BossUp would actually do this for you for the BUMS.AI customers. But if you're doing this, I want to just show you, you can go in here and see what it is. What's your use case? Find your best use case. So if I say it's low volume mix, which is a good example, I'm going to say, see example. Here's some examples. So what I can do is I can copy paste an example right in here. And the campaign we used to reach out to customers who have signed up for an updates by SMS and our customers with ongoing projects that have also opted in, right? So we want to make sure we have stuff like that. So sample message too. You look here, you can copy. So this one, for example, I'm going to use this one here. Let's just use this one here and I'm going to paste it and you're going to put in your thing. So I use Kate for our automations. And what I'm going to do is from 3-4 success or whatever your business is. And you have to leave this reply to stop, right? This is a right way to do it. And you're going to go in and look, you're going to be able to think which one of these best suits you or if you want to modify it. But think about it at an approval step, right? So you want to go ahead and put those in properly. Oh, this is Kate, from 3 success, for example. We are confirming your appointment tomorrow at 9. Please reply stop to cancel. No big deal. All right, great. Here, this message will include embedded. It is not good practice to send an embedded link origin. So I would say no. This message will include a phone number. Why do you include a phone number when it's coming from a phone? So I say no. And the rest of these I would leave no, unless they apply to you. Do read through them. You might be a reason they apply to you. You're going to hit continue. Now, how to lead in context consent. So you have to consent. So when you go to your page, so for example, if we go to bossupsolutions.com and somebody is filling out a form of some sort, there's a consent here. I consent, right? And this is something that needs to be on every page. So if you don't have this on your web page or you don't have this on your documents, this can pose a problem for you in getting improvement. So you want to make sure through your web guy, again, if you have a marketing team, they can help you update if you're using the BUMS.AI system for the forms and stuff. We can do this pretty quickly for you. You're going to want that. You're also going to want a privacy policy, which that one looks like it's not actually functional. So I had to tell the team about that myself, but privacy policy is there and you're going to want your terms and conditions and you're going to want that. Now what you're going to do is go here and I just like using samples. It's pretty easy and users opt in by visiting and then you're going to put in your company URL. And you're going to fill in your information. You replace this with the number that you're applying for. So you're going to put that phone number, right? Opt-in message. Here's some examples again. You can put these in and this way it lets you know what's happening. So I hit submit and actually I didn't want to submit that. I'm going to get billed $23. So great. But anyhow, no big deal. It was submitted. Now, if I go here, you're going to see this is in progress. It'll get declined because my information is not correct. Then it'll say the campaign is yet to start, but it'll automatically do that part as soon as that one part is done. So you don't have to worry about it. Brands. You're going to go to brand and you're going to see that you have a pending status campaign. We're going to run through all the phone stuff here real quick. And you can see nothing's in here yet because nothing has been created. Shaken STIR, start registering. So what do you want to know your caller ID to look like, right? So I'm going to say, I want it to look like that, right? And I put that in there and that's just submitting it for a brand to get it branded. Then I want to go to my CNAM, which is other providers and do the same thing. Now, for some of your company names, you might not be able to fit everything because you see how it says 15 characters. So if you run out of room, find a shorter version to use that looks complete that somebody can understand if their phone rings when they see it on their caller ID or what have you. So you want to do that and you submit that. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Voice integrity, there's nothing to do on this. It's something that's coming out. So you don't have to worry about that, right? So that's all you have to do. And if you go back to your phone numbers, what you're going to see is you're going to see this kind of pending status. So right now it shows that it started or that it didn't start. If I refresh this, we should be able to see where that number has been applied for. It's probably in a day going to tell me I failed because, of course, like I told you, that was not my EIN number. That is not my information. So that number should not get approved. If it gets approved, I'd be pretty shocked and surprised by it. So we have that. And let me see here. So you can see that it says your A2P is incomplete. Please complete the registration, but it's incomplete because I haven't completed it yet. Like it has to go through its process. So that part's fine. Now let's move on to some other settings for the phone number while we go. Now remember, do not add more numbers yet until you see this turn green. Don't add any more numbers because you're just going to create yourself more of a headache. And that's what you're going to want to do here. So let's look at some of the settings that I do suggest. We'll get into the numbers themselves when we're setting up users. So I'm not going to get into that right now, but I'll fly through it a little just for some overview. We're going to hit edit configuration. So what's this title called? So I like leaving the number in there just because it helps me later, but I will do main or something like that. Now, pass call number as caller ID. This means like if you're forwarding it to your phone, You might want it to ring as 3 for Success exteriors or something. And if that's the case, you would click this and the caller ID is always named 3 for Success and you would forward it to, for example, your cell phone. I'm not going to do that. I don't like forwarding the calls. I like using the app. But if that's what I was doing, that's what I would do. Now what I'm going to do is I use your verified number as caller ID. So if I had verified my number, remember we talked about that over here, I can use the caller ID for my business. So that way, if I want the outbound number to always be the same, great. Problem is when people start texting the outbound number, it might not receive it and it's definitely not going to come in here. So I don't recommend that. Again, use case scenario. You have to figure it out. Enable call connect feature. This is when it calls you and it says press 1 to connect. I don't like that. There's a delay. Get rid of it. Not recommended. Whisper message. This is where it lets you know where the call is coming from. So for some of you, you could click this on and you could say, do it grammatically here. So it can be actually enunciated the right way and it'll just say 3 for Success. It'll connect you if you want that. I don't recommend it, but if you wanted to, you can. You could even go as far as putting in the contact's name and stuff. If it's available, it'll read it. So there's some cool things there. It has its place. For most people, I don't think it's needed. Call recording. So this call will be recorded for quality purposes, right? So you can turn that on or put in whatever message you want. A lot of people just put in the space bar and it just doesn't say anything. It's recorded. Now, remember, if you do that, there's rules and regulations about stuff, right? But what you want to do is this, I would use internally and never externally. And again, I'm not an attorney on this. I'm just telling you that if you don't say that statement, don't make that externally. No. Incoming call timeout, you're going to uncheck it. Outgoing call timeout, you're going to uncheck it. And you can pick users here, but we're not going to. That's not the right way. This is the best place to do it. And you save your number. So we've saved our number. We've configured it for the most part. We'll get into more as you add numbers for call routing and all that stuff, right? Here, you're going to see your usage. If you have usage, what's going on, how much you spent. Here's your regulatory bundle. This is what we're waiting for. The trust center we just went through. Message analytics. This is new. And this is like a dashboard for messaging, showing how many messages were delivered, received, things like that. Very cool, actually. If you start looking at this, it really helps you understand stuff. Put it on your calendar. Every 15th of the month, I'm going to look at message analytics and I just want to know where they're at and make some adjustments. Pretty simple to do and helps. Advanced settings. We're going to want to go here and we're going to look at this. You're already going to be connected to those lead connectors. So you're set there if you're with BUMS.AI, or if you're with Go High Level, this should already be there as well. Number intelligence. This is what we checked off. If you guys remember from the first video, it's on that main page when you set up. But if you hadn't had this checked, I recommend checking it. Again, what is it? Scroll over. That's what it's going to charge you. It's charging you a penny to look up their name. It's charging you a fraction of a penny if it's a spam detection, et cetera, right? I like it, worth it. I think it's smart to keep. Voicemail. Enable call transcription. Super important. So many people do not turn this on. Transcriptions are going to be huge. And as we develop further, we're working on where the transcription is going to be summarized and turned into notes. So there's some very cool features with this. It's going to tell you right here what your rate is. So it's 0.036. So 3 cents to transcribe it per minute. I say go for it. That's my opinion. I don't think that's something that I would pass up on. I think it's got huge value. I've used it many times. Let's go down this tree right here. Inbound calls. Forward calls to business phone number. Turn that off. Here's why. You're going to be on your business number. You're going to forward into the BUMS system or into HighLevel. If you forward back, you're going to create a loop and you're going to wonder why your phone's ringing. So you have to kill the loop. This is where you kill the loop. Now, individual users, you can recreate a loop, but in general speaking, I would turn that off. Ring users assigned to call number. If activate the calls will forward to the assigned number. I turn this off. I turn this on in each of the users, not here. That's my recommendation. You can try it both ways. It won't kill you, but I like it the other way around. Outbound calls. Connect me to lead after the call recording message ends playing. But in other words, if there's a call recording, when you're leaving a auto record or whatever, it allows you to not have to listen to the recording and just basically start from there. I turn it off or it's already off. Keep it there. Call recording. Automatically delete all the recordings. Those of you that want to say, wow, these little pennies might add up, and they could. Here's what I'm going to show you. Just turn this on and figure out your business. I think 90 days is very reasonable. You're not spending a lot to store the stuff. It's reasonable for delete, but you can reduce this. You can make it 45 days or you can make it 30 days. You can make it 7 days. Download your recordings whenever you feel they're important. Otherwise, don't worry about it. How many times do you really go back to a recording? So keep a reasonable time. Take your project deliverability period and add a few days cushion. So for example, if you're working with insurance claims and your duration is filing the claim, meeting the adjuster, handling the claim, building the project and getting through it. And insurance companies, that could take 60 days, 90 days. You might want to keep this in 90. If you're a retail company and you're churning and burning, maybe this is 30 days. So don't get too crazy with it, but I think 45 days is probably not a bad number. And I put that in there and voila, that's done, right? And now I go to my next step, which is voice call settings and incoming call timeout. Set it to 10 seconds and you're going to go ahead and upload your audio file. We talked about this before on the online recorder. It was just popping up right there. This one right here, online-voice-recorder.com. Record here, clean it up, load it up. It'll be great. And you just load it right there. Enable missed call text back. We'll get into other more intelligent missed call text back features that you can add. But right now, keep this checked on and you're good. Now, I didn't save anything because this is a demo, but you're going to want to save. SMS components. You're going to want to make sure both of these are checked off. If you want to customize this, you don't use the word stop, you use end or something like that. You can put that in there. Now, some words by carrier are already enforced, stop being one of them. So that's what you want to make sure that you have that set up. Usually the defaults work, and this is just going to tell you some information, right? Message limits. This is going to be more on our side. If you want an increase in the amount of messages you can send out, let us know. We'll work on it. But there is a credit score where it builds you up as you get higher and higher quality messages. We open it up where you can do more and more. Restriction history is where it's going to show you if there's any restrictions put on your account for any reason. It might happen from time to time. Very simple to handle. Get in touch with Boston Solutions. We'll help you get it wrapped up. But your phone numbers are done. Now you pretty much are ready to go. You got your phone numbers done. You're going to wait for your compliance. Now you should be able to immediately start sending, as it says, I'm incomplete or failed, because we talked about that. It was a bad EIN. So I failed, but hopefully yours will turn green. But you can immediately start making phone calls and text messages and everything from this number. Phone calls. You can receive text messages. You can't send them. So I wouldn't go making it known that it's text yet. I would just use it as a regular number, and that'll help you get through a little quicker and get operation, right? So your numbers can start forwarding. If you haven't had text before, you won't miss it until you receive it. I would say this is, for me, I've been fairly lucky. I would say 48 hours, but I would say keep about 7 days to 10 days just in case, make sure everything goes right. But if you follow my tips from the first video and you follow this video, you should probably get success pretty quick. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel, follow the channels. We're building the ultimate roofing CRM, and I'm going to show you how to do it step by step. And this was getting your phone numbers right. So hopefully that was helpful, and love your feedback, and we'll go from there. Thanks, guys.